Hi everyone, this is Sam from Gamereactor here, and we're live from Ubisoft Montreal looking at the 6th Invitational. And we're here talking about the 6th Invitational. Could you tell us a bit about the 6th Invitational and why it's so important for the esports scene around Rainbow Six Siege?
I think it's important to the esports scene, but not only the esports scene. 6th Invitational was thought as hey, this is gonna be the anniversary of Rainbow Six, so everyone that is into Rainbow Six, from players, fans, pro players as well, you guys, let's do something to celebrate that first year. It is so rare and unique in a game to have such longevity, even though again it's only 1 year. I think for us, marking that event with the almost a birthday or anniversary party was super important. So 6th Invitational is going to be about obviously competition, and we have the pro players from Xbox and PC around the world that are gathering for 3 days and battling or fighting for prize money. But it's also a moment where we meet the fans. We do Q&As and panels about, there's one about conception, another one about year 2, technical and creative panels. So the idea is to, I think and I hope, creating that ongoing dialogue and be transparent about the game and talk about the game and ultimately celebrate it.
Cool. You said that you're built to last, that you're building this game to last for a while. And how does esports fit into that philosophy?
I think it's in both ways. There are two elements to which esports is contributing to a game that's meant and built to last. I think one aspect is about the design itself. When you do build a game that you intend to be playing by very competitive players, so we're talking players that are putting hundreds, if not thousands of hours on a game, those guys are going to be pushing the design and technology of the game to its limits. So it's almost as if you're a car manufacturer and you say, hey, I'm going to go into Formula One. You know you're going to be pushing the tech, pushing the design, pushing all aspects of your game to its limits, which is tremendously virtuous for us, because obviously those guys are breaking the game in so many aspects, but we learn, so we improve, we're fixing it, and it becomes better not only for them. Every player benefits from the fact that you're having the best of the best playing your game. This is the best stress test that you can have. So on design and tech, competition is very much helping us building that game for a long time. The second aspect, I think, it's what it says about your game and to your community. Everyone is aware that when you are starting to build a game for esports, you are not planning to stop that game in a month. It's a message that says we're here to last, trust us. This is what we absolutely want to communicate, is the fact that we are growing, the game is growing, esports is very much a part of it, and I think will help definitely get that message across.
Cool. Earlier on today, you gave us a bit of an insight into the 3 leagues on PC. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah. After the first year, like year 1 was about developing a program and getting learnings as well. This is new to us, new for the game, somehow also very new for Ubisoft. So we had that first year with the Xbox and PC going on. Now, all the learnings that we have, we are making decisions to put PC as the main platform on the esports program. Where there is 3 layers or 3 leagues that are now on the PC platform. So the Pro League, which is basically the best teams, 8-base teams per region that you can find. Then there's the Challenger League, which is sort of like the semi-pro, aspiring pro player and teams sort of league, and everything that is Go For, which is more the community level. So now we are making the program a little bit more richer and with 3 steps sort of like to go into and to become a pro player.
Cool. It's slightly different layout on consoles though, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. We're happy to have PlayStation that is now part of the program, and it wasn't the case last year, so it's super cool to have now the 3 platforms are having an entry point into the competition for Rainbow Six. I think there was clearly something missing, and now we have it, so I think it's particularly exciting. But clearly the lead on PC It's a decision. It's a difficult decision that we took at UB and with the project, but it's a decision that is necessary to grow. A game where you want, especially an esports or competitive game that you want to grow, and we want to grow that scene. We want to make sure that there are more players, more stability, that those players can make more than a decent living as much as possible. All of this is possible because you focus. And the decision to go PC is exactly that decision to make the scene grow and be healthy.
Is the new operators part of that philosophy to help the scene grow? And what do you think about when you introduce new operators into the game?
Each time that we're introducing new operators, there's always that moment of fingers crossed, everything works as intended. Really, that's super cool. No, there's mainly, if I'm trying to be a little bit more rational, there are two objectives each time that we are bringing new operators. One, the most obvious, it's about enriching the meta. We started with 20 operators when the game launched. Across the year, we added 8 new more, and year 2 is going to have 8 new more. So at the end of year 2 will be 36 operators. Each new operator, it's a new choice. So each operator has to be thought as a meaningful choice. We want player each time they jump in the game and they have to pick, to stop and say, damn, which one should I pick? Which team combination do I want to make with my team? Which counter pick do I want if I want one? How am I going to approach that map, that situation, that mode with my team? Today we're at a state where we still have picks that are almost compulsory picks. And I'll take a concrete example. Termite, during the whole year, up until we introduced Ibana, was the only attacker's operator that could break into reinforced wall. So he was an absolute necessity to every team. That's why in every game, as an attacker, you always saw Termite. Ibana is exactly that aspect of putting a new operator that has a similar ability, meaning that now the player has choice. Do I pick Termite or do I pick Ibana? And those are meaningful choice because Ibana is bringing other things that Termite does not, and vice versa. So the idea with new operators in year 2 is going to be enriching the meta, meaning more choices, more combination, and more specifically about the operators, I think we're getting, with that year 1 of learning, more educated as well ourselves based on how player plays and the feedback that we receive and what we monitor on the metrics. We see how the game is really being played by millions of people. So now we're making more educated choice, trying to improve some of the aspects. I think we're focusing much more on destruction and on the siege aspect. There's been operators that weren't that much into this. So I think now we are getting into a better mastery of our own game because people playing, they are the one giving us that knowledge.
When I told my friend I was playing Rainbow Six Siege, he said to me, this is a little anecdote for the question, he said to me that it's been out for ages, I don't think I'd be able to get into it because it's been out for so long. Is it important that new players feel that they can get back into the game even with this second year of content?
Yeah, I think this is going to be one of the main challenge and maybe main ambition in the months and years to come. But first, I want to reassure your friend about one thing. Rainbow Six is managing, I feel, a particular balance. This balance between depth and the game is extremely deep thanks to destruction that is systemic and the operator system. It's much more deep than a lot of other shooters. So there's depth, but at the same time, the game, if you think about it, is also easier to get in. I'll explain why. When we designed the game, Rainbow is a tactical shooter. So it's a balance between pure shooting skills and tactics, meaning the way you use your brain and not purely your reflexes. That addition of the tactical layer, it helps, I believe, and I'm not good at shooting, me being good at the game or a value to my team. And I'm mostly picking, for instance, operators that are much more on the surveillance or getting intel, because I really am not good at shooting. So even people that have less pure skill at aiming and shooting can still enter the game, enjoy the game, and be of added value to a team. So I feel already in its core design, the game is actually more welcoming to shooters that are purely based on skill.
Yeah.
That being said, I absolutely agree that those two elements, destruction and operators, that sort of reach and depth, can become a complexity. And that's that fine line of choices that we're going to be making on how we ensure that this is deep and never complex. In the months and years to come, like today, the state of the conversation with the teams are, okay, how do we ensure this? How do we make new players coming on in our game and don't have that wall that feels too high to climb? We don't have the answers yet. We're discussing about lots of possibilities, each with its pros and cons. We talked about specific matchmaking or specific lobbies, for instance, where you matchmake only the entry-level players. So all of them are starting at the same time or same sort of level, and you're not matchmake with, I don't know, a diamond or platinum player. We talked about ideas where you have more of a practice area, where you could pick any operator and select the map that you wanted so that you get a custom. So there are lots of discussions and ideas, and it's only ideas at that stage that we're looking at, but this is clearly a challenge and a big question for us, absolutely.
Cool.